I've got the pleasure of being joined by the lovely tiziaN. And first of all, I want to reflect on Bigs 2020 because that's when we saw you really skyrocketing to the heights of being ranked #1 in the world. So having a bit of time to reflect upon that, why do you feel that Big were able to pull off those impressive results?
I think it was because we were a pretty new team. We came together in the beginning of 2020, I guess. And everybody was super motivated. Everybody was full ready to give everything they have. And when we became rank 1, we kind of crumbled. We kind of took it for granted, and we, of course, we still put in a lot of work, but not the work we did put in when we wanted to reach #1.
That's interesting to hear that you say you weren't putting in the same amount of work. Was there a kind of reason for that? Was there anything that you were doing that perhaps you couldn't recreate as a team?
It was more like that. We put the focus on more individual stuff, that people try to play better themselves. We try to not play so much as a team because we also had some issues playing like that. And now everything fell a little apart, and we need to recreate our system.
Yeah, because we haven't seen you being able to reach the world #1 spot in 2021 as of yet. So is there anything that you're kind of adjusting coming into this year? Any kind of differences that you felt as a team?
Well, people changed. Of course, people get older, people get more experience and stuff, so people take a little bit less criticism, people have a little bit more of a mind of their own. I think this is the biggest thing that has changed, because before everybody was like a puppet. Can you do this? Of course I'm going to do that, blah, blah, blah. But now there's a little bit more of no, and no, I don't like this, and all that stuff. But I think it's normal for a team to be in a phase like that. I think everybody gets everybody has an ego, and it's also good to have an ego, and we are working right now on that the ego doesn't overtake the opinion of the team.
That's really interesting, because I know that tabseN said, it must have been in summer last year, in an interview was saying, he wants the team to feel like a family, and that's why he felt like you guys were doing so well. So has that been something that you have been working on as a team? Have you kind of found issues in terms of keeping that mentality together?
Well, we just had a bootcamp recently. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, I guess. We really tried to be a lot together. Also, aside from the server, we just, played table tennis or all that kind of stuff. We just all the time spent time together all the time to recreate that feeling we had when we scrambled together as a team. So yeah, I mean, we are working on it.
Yeah, and speaking of that boot camp, what were kind of your main focuses in that period? So obviously we can see that you're there. I'm presuming the other players aren't there with you at the moment, but what were you kind of focusing on during that period?
Playing less and having more theory, more just talking about the game, more demos reviewing, because when you're in a bootcamp environment, it's much easier to watch demos together. You don't have to join a Discord and one guy is clicking everything. It's a little bit exhausting. So it's much easier when you're in a environment like this. So this is what we put our main focus on, just reviewing and talking.
Yeah, and you guys were saying in terms of your 2020 results, I know that tabseN was saying he felt like the anti-stratting and the preparations that you were putting into the games was a real reason why you were shooting to #1. Was that something that you found kind of unsustainable to be doing as a team? Was it a lot of work to be putting in for every specific match?
Yeah, I mean, last year it was pretty rough because we had so many tournaments coming up. It was tournament after tournament. Sometimes we had 2 games at the same day in 2 different leagues or tournaments or whatever. So we already back then started to not anti-strat so much anymore. Of course, we had our basic anti-strat, but not the full package we always had. And right now we don't really know how to get into a game, because when we do too much preparation, people in our team, we focus completely on that preparation, and sometimes it goes wrong. Sometimes people think, okay, from the prep, the enemy should be in this position, but then he's suddenly not there, and then everything begins to crumble. And that's why right now we do just basic anti-strat.
Yeah, so how are you finding that balance in terms of the preparation? Is there anything you guys have been doing to make sure, like you were saying, you're not over-preparing, you're not over-focusing on something that you're expecting? Can you kind of talk me through that?
Well, we try to play rounds where we try to play what we have, what info we are given, and not just the info from the demos. So, for example, we start in the match and everybody has their default in their position, and we just pack together all the info we get to create a mid-rank call for tabseN. So this is like right now our approach.
And I know when I was speaking to you guys last year, it was mainly, your coaching squad, your analyst staff, and tabseN that were building the strategies in the preparation. Has that kind of changed at all? Do the other players get a bit more involved now?
Yeah, basically everybody's involved now. Everybody's doing a little bit, but as I said before, it was the coach and tabseN, and they did basically everything together. Toby, our old coach, was a really hardworking guy. He would give in every single second he had. Also, our new coach is doing the same. But he's a little bit more inexperienced, but he's like learning a lot, and we are trying to get to the same point as we were before.
I want to talk to you about tabseN as well, because obviously you've been his teammate for a number of years now and watched him transition into that role of in-game leader too. Mm-hmm. So how do you kind of view his development in this role as an IGL, seeing him over this number of years?
Well, before tabseN was like, how do I say this? He was always a very smart guy. He always had a lot of impact in our game. Also, when Gobby was the caller and he was playing more of his positions, but he was like second IGL already back then. But he changed completely. Like before, he wouldn't do any interview. If he was like scheduled for an interview, he would cry and not like do stuff like this. But right now he's like taking every interview. He's completely professional. He's putting every single second he has into the game, and he is a big part, like maybe the biggest part why we got so good last year.
And in terms of your first opponents here at Flashpoint 3, you're going to be coming up against Complexity. So just looking at their form throughout 2021 so far, what are your kind of key takeaways from them? How are you viewing them as opponents?
We always like playing against them. We played them last year, I think, in like 5 playoffs or something. So we know a lot about them. Also, I mean, they have changed players, but they still have the same system around playing. So, we take it like every other game. We know that they haven't changed so much. And, what can I say?
Yeah, I know you said late last year that you felt like Complexity have always been a quite good opponents in a matchup for you. So why is that? Can you kind of walk me through that?
I think it's just because of the amount of games we have played against them. We build reads on each of their player. Like, for example, I have a lot of reads on, I don't know, let's say Rush, because he's playing a lot of my positions as well. So it's a lot of mind games now, because they know a lot about us and we know a lot about them, and yeah.
And in terms of their sort of core coming together, we saw them having a little bit of a difficult time with some players going on sick leave. Obviously, Obo leaving the team as well. It was kind of a struggle for them to get that 5 together. So how are you viewing them now they've had some time with this core 5? What are your kind of thoughts on the individual players?
The roster change was pretty good for them. Of course, the story around Obo, I also saw it in their videos they made. It was pretty sad, actually, but I also can completely understand it. The roster move itself was really good. I also think that JKS is a really good player. I'm also very happy that Poison is playing with them again. I think they're a very decent team. I think they have what it takes to be a top 5 team. And I'm always happy when we play against them, because it's a very good chess game.
And in terms of the wider competition, who are you viewing as your biggest rivals here at Flashpoint 3?
No, I'm going definitely with Heroic. They're a really strong team. It's really disgusting to play against them or even break against them, because they block you all the time, they regress you all the time. You never really know where they are, but yet they come with insane team play, and it's really, really hard for us, especially to play against them. So I have a lot of respect for them, and I think that they're also the best team in this qualifier.
And in terms of big for the rest of 2021, we saw you hitting insane heights in 2020. So what are your kind of main goals going forward for the rest of this year?
The main goal is to stay together and somehow repair the team and become what we used to be. Also, like that we all become friends again. But like we are still friends, but we had like a much better bond, and we try to get that back again.
Well, tiziaN, absolute pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck for Flashpoint 3.
Thank you very much.